Hi everyone, welcome to Blackwood Engage Layout. The camera is currently looking at the entrance to one side of the Fiddle Yard, and if I actually come over to the other side of the bridge that disguises the entrance, you will see that at this side the Fiddle Yard is actually accessed at only one location. That's this point here. To get into the Fiddle Yard from this side of the layout, everything has to come through this one point. There is then a double slip which gives access obviously into the motive power depot, which comes over here. That's the motive power depot there, and on the other side of the double slip the tracks obviously split, go through the road bridge, and if we come back over here we can then see that we then have the access into the actual Fiddle Yard itself. Now the Fiddle Yard has, and I very often forget this, but I think I'm right in saying the Fiddle Yard I think has got 11 through tracks. This track here's through, as I say, it's a second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one, sixth one, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. So there are 11 through tracks. There are also a couple of sidings, which are just picking up here. There's a siding just where my finger is, that's a siding, and again where these wagons are parked here, these are both sidings. Apart from this main Fiddle Yard, we also have the secondary Fiddle Yard on the other side of the layout here, which has got 3 long sidings, and that is accessed from this Fiddle Yard on this side. If we follow through here, I think if I can pick it up here, you'll just see this track here going underneath the bridge here. Accesses you. Now you may be asking yourself, why am I showing you the Fiddle Yard? Well, the reason I'm showing you the Fiddle Yard is I'm going to actually be doing a slight alteration to this side of the layout here, which has not yet had the scenery detailed to it, and I will explain why in a minute. Okay, I've moved round and you can see there the general view of the actual Fiddle Yard. Now, as you can see, when you look at this end here, you'll see the Fiddle Yard, as I described earlier, is only accessed from basically one point on the other side of the layout. However, on this side of the layout, it's different. We actually have got 3 entrance points to the Fiddle Yard. We first of all have this line here where the Class 66 is sitting. Coming in here gives you access to what I call the original inner Fiddle Yard. That's the lines just up here to where the Class 37 in Dutch engineer livery is sitting. We then have a second entrance to the Fiddle Yard, again from this main entrance, and this point here there is a single line goes along, was planned to go into a tunnel. It then splits in this point here, and that gives you access to a further 2 lines. And then the third is, again, we start back from the bridge, we have the, if I can pick it up, we have the 2 points here, we have the diamond crossing, and then we have 2 lines veering off here which come round, and they give access to, if you like, the outer tracks of the Fiddle Yard. Now, when I was doing the rebuilding of this side of the layout, one of the aims of the rebuild was to sort these 2 lines here. Originally there were 2 lines come out here, but both, well, not both of them, this outer line, instead of connecting to the outer loop line, it actually connected to this line. This line here, instead of connecting to the inner loop or the middle loop, it actually connected to the inner loop, and that was really annoying. So part of this, or the remit for the rebuilding, was to connect these two tracks here, where my fingers are, to the correct tracks out here, and that has been achieved. When the rebuilding was getting done, there wasn't a lot of thought given to reconnecting the tracks up here. This is a different layout than what was actually there before. It's, from an operational point of view, it's much better, but this particular track where the Class 66 is actually sitting, this is actually exactly where the old track was. So all that's happened is we've made the new connection on here, and there has been an improvement to the point layout work and the access to the sidings here. This middle line here, nothing has actually changed. The track has simply just been reconnected back into this track here. Now obviously when I've been operating the trains, what I find is that the entrance to the Fiddle Yard here is very heavily used. This here is used, but this middle track where my finger is doesn't get a lot of use. It's almost as though it's hidden. So that got me thinking, and I think I may have had a slight design flaw which I am hopefully going to correct, and I'll point out in a minute what I'm going to actually do. Okay, turn the camera slightly round so we can see this is the track here, which is not getting a huge amount of use, and here we have the inside, or rather the track coming off the middle loop coming to the Fiddle Yard. Now the way the points are actually laid, if this track here actually came off here, it would actually be a lot better, because it would actually mean that instead of having 3 entrances to the Fiddle Yard, there would only be 2. So that got me thinking, and I had an old code 80 curve point, and code 80 curve points and code 55 curve points appear to be absolutely identical in terms of radius, etc. And what I discovered was that if I actually sit code 80 without me having to actually alter any track geometry, code 80 will actually fit in. Okay, things, as you all of a sudden see, as if by magic, ballast has disappeared. So what I have now done is I've removed the ballast from this section of track right round to this point. It's a very small section of track to ballast removed, and on this side here the ballast has been cleaned out of the track, coming round here, and it's been disconnected from the point. The large hill or rock face that used to sit just about there has also been removed. Put that way to one side. So as I was saying, if we actually look at the layout here under the bridge, you will see that this track here, which is the entrance to the Fiddle Yard that is least used, we can actually access the same 2 tracks by simply putting a curve point in here. Now, before I lifted the track, I actually had as I said, I had an old code 80 point, and the actual curvature here is the same as the outside curvature of the code 80 left hand point, so I know that the point will in actual fact fit in here. I've also checked underneath the baseboard, and there will be sufficient room to put in a point motor. In fact, if I actually move this slightly out of the way, I don't know if you can pick it up. You can probably just pick up, there's actually a slight hole there. That's where there was an old point motor, or an old point in the original layout. So there must have been a point there a number of years ago. So that can probably just simply get reused. So what will happen is we will put a curve point in here. This curve point, which splits into two tracks, this will be moved to somewhere around about here, and the two tracks will be slightly realigned. This line here will simply become a siding, it will become a head shunt, which will be actually very, very useful, and I'll tell you the reason why. If we come back down here, I have noticed, or very often when I am wanting to shunt stuff in and out this yard, and I'll just move these wagons back because they've moved because I was scraping some of the baseboards. What I've noticed is when I'm doing the shunting movements here, very often I'm actually having to use, where the class 66 is sitting, I'm actually using that as a head shunt. I can't run into these lines here because these are actually the fiddle yard, and the fiddle yards are not split into different isolating sections. Each line is simply isolated, so although there might look as though there's nothing sitting there, there's actually probably a train, or 9 times out of 10 there's a train, so you can't run over into these lines. If I come back and if we see where there's the point split, if we then follow up this line here, it will then bring us to this point here, and on the other side, that's the line that used to go in, if I pick that up, that's the line that used to go in there, the line closest to the retaining wall. That's the line that used to go into just the two tracks in the fiddle yard. I can simply truncate that and make that a head shunt, and it would be much, much better. So that's progress so far. The baseboard's slightly wet. If you're wondering how I remove the ballast, somebody actually asked me, you've stuck ballast, when you stick ballast down with your PVA, it's absolutely brick hard, and if you scrape it, it's brick hard. All you actually have to do is take a pipette with some warm water, drop it over the ballast, leave it probably for about 10 seconds, and the ballast simply becomes mush basically, and you can simply scrape it. And you can see here, if I actually remove this bit of track here, that there is completely, hold up, completely free of ballast. There's odd wee bits and pieces, but more or less it's completely free of ballast. It's obviously retained its curvature because the track has been weathered and painted, but it's still a serviceable piece of track, and obviously I will still require a piece of track to simply go in round about there. And in actual fact, what I will do, I have the code 80 point, it will be a code 55 point to give you an idea. There we go. If I set that in there, that will be your point work there, with obviously a connecting piece of track to the next point. And I could either have a piece of track and more or less just move this point over, or I can probably, I'll realign it, but there's plenty of room here to realign this point. It will probably mean that these two sidings here will be actually even longer. If I was actually to bring this point right back here, these would be exceptionally long sidings, which means that you can hold really long trains. So that's me for today, and we'll carry on in the next video. Okay, so we have made a little bit of progress, or rather I should say I have made a little bit of progress. As you can see, I have now installed the code 55 left hand turnout. Motor is not yet onto it, and the recovered piece of track has been cut and it has been rejoined. Now you'll see there's appear to be some small bits of packing, and packing is there simply to elevate the curve, because it's quite a tight curve. It's a 15-inch curve, and